Shalom, 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 shalom. This is your brother Yael Ezra Ben Levi coming at you again with another quick video. I would like for you to join me in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 6 starting at verse 4. The book of Deuteronomy chapter 6 starting at verse 4. Hallelujah. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Now, as you all know from all my other videos, I'm just going to give you another reminder again. When you see the word Lord in all caps, that is referring to the name of the Creator. This is not referring to the Christ of the New Testament. I just want y'all to understand this. We have to stop inserting and ejecting things into a text that is not there. We have to stop doing that. This is referring to the Holy One of Israel. So let's read it again. Hear, O Israel, Yehovah is one. Yehovah our Elohim is one. I just want y'all to understand that. Verse 5. And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might. So we see in verse 5, we are to love Yehovah with all our hearts. We don't have with all our minds, with all our strength, everything that makes us us. We're supposed to give it unto Yehovah. And through our obedience, through our very mannerisms, our lifestyle, it should be a reflection of our worship and obedience to Him. And this verse let us know that we need to give our full selves over to Yehovah. And if you're giving your full self over to Yehovah, you don't have room for another deity. You can't couple another with Yehovah. It doesn't work that way. He is a jealous Elohim. He is a jealous God. And He will not tolerate that. Verse 6. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thy heart. Now, one thing I want you to understand when it says shall be in your heart, he's talking about your mind. The words of the Creator need to be in our minds so that we will find ourselves applying them, doing them. That's what it's talking about when it talks about the heart. It's talking about your mind. Verse 7. And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thy house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. Now, verse 7 is number key, because I must admit this to my shame. I have not practiced verse 7 to the fullest of my capabilities. I have not done it. That's one of my greatest shame in life, that I have not sat down with my children, all five of them, to explain who their God is, what is required of us as a people. Even though I have mentioned it to them in passing and I have brought it up, but the full essence of my responsibility to them as a father, according to what is stated here in the Torah, I have not done it in the measure and the full capacity that I should have. And I'm sure I'm not alone in this, because there's many people that have fell victim to this. Some people are ashamed that they may lose their kid if they try to share with them these laws, statutes, and commandments. Because I know how it is with some people's kids, even with my own kids. You get them mad and they may not want to talk to you for a while. They might cut you off. And you know how it is if you have grandkids, you don't want to miss out on the grandkids. So you try not to make them upset. But that's not the issue. The issue is our responsibility as fathers, our responsibility as parents is we're supposed to teach our kids about their God and about what is required of them in obeying their God. Now, all we could do is try to reflect what Torah is like, Tell them about the Torah. Let them know this is the right way to live. And that's it. Do our part. Let them know what is required of them. Show them what it's like. Encourage them to walk this path. Do your part. And watch your kids' lives change. Watch your kids start to exemplify what you've been living, what you've been teaching, what you've been doing. And that very thing you thought they wasn't getting hold of, it's going to come back to their remembrance. They're going to start to ask you questions. Because they remember you telling them. They remember watching you do certain things. They're going to inquire about it. But you got to plant that seed. And we got to do it at a greater measure. It just can't be on Shabbat. It have to be 7 days out the week. We have to do the Shema. A lot of us say it every day. But the problem is, are we doing it? Reciting it 2 times a day, reciting it 3 times a day is not equal to what's in it. Are we doing it? It's just not enough to quote it 2 or 3 times a day. We have to actively find ourselves doing it. We have to actively find ourselves understanding and making the declaration that Yehovah is one. We have to do verse 5. We are to love Yehovah with all our might, with all our heart, with all our strength, with everything that makes us us. We have to do that. Verse 6. We have to call to remembrance that we need to keep these words and commandments in our mind. We have to meditate on them day and night so that we will apply them. We're not talking about memorization. That's good. But if we're memorizing them and not doing them, that's not good enough. That's not cutting it. And verse 7, for the benefit of our children and our children's children, we have to teach them about Yehovah. And we have to teach them the laws, statutes, and commandments. Then we are walking in according to the Shema. Everything that it entails in Deuteronomy chapter 6. That's just all I wanted to share at this time. This is your brother Yael Ezra Ben Living. Peace.